A round of applause. Yes, so that is highlights of what ICJ has been able to do in the year 2022. And I think they've done a splendid job, right? One more time, appreciate them for the beautiful work they have done. Wonderful, wonderful. So I would want us to proceed. There is more coming, of course, but it is very difficult to talk to hungry stomachs. So I think it would only be fair that we now eat. I'm not seeing smiles. You guys are not hungry. I'm hungry. You guys are hungry. So we have prepared something for you, and status which will be served on the table. So we request for your patience. I will have someone attend to each table. Shortly after that, I will be inviting you to serve. I will give you the order of how we will serve in a very systematic and orderly fashion. So I pray for your patience as you do that. But in the meantime, we also have Javon and the band, Javon Poetry and the band, who at some point will be entertaining us together with our DJ. So we'll have some music as we do that for a few minutes before I come back, so that I can give you the rest of the itinerary for the night. But for now, I will leave you in the safe hands of our DJ, and as we have our waiters attend to us. So thank you very much, DJ.
baby, what's your name? Is it a Mrs. or is it Missy? If you smile yourself, I can take you on a ride. We can check the scene and we can break it down. And we'll be singing, ooh la la la. Let's go dancing, ooh la la la. Come on, let's go reggae dancing, ooh la la la. Let's go dancing, ooh la la la. Reggae dancing, yeah la la. Oh, let's go dancing, yeah la la.
Thank you, Dudu. As we continue, we also have dessert. Once you're done, please feel free also to partake of the dessert too. We have some dessert too. Once you're done with your main course, please have some dessert too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you so much. I believe every table has now been attended to. Yes. And if you're not full, please change your shoes, change your coat, go back. They will not know it's you. I give you a hint, don't leave your plate on your table. Go for another plate. Go another one, eh? Go get another clean one, eh? Otherwise, they will know it's you. But please make sure you are full. And so at this point, I want to also recognize our partners who have made it possible for us to be gathered here. I want to recognize NCBA Bank, our partners. Thank you. We have Palbina Tours, we have ICJ Kenya members, and also CSO partners. We want to say thank you for making it possible for us to be gathered here tonight for JOYA Awards 2022. I know you're eating, so if your plate is in front of you, just knock it a bit with your fork. Just, that is the sound we'll give of applause, eh? Please accept that as a thank you. for the night, because I'm sure most of us are still enjoying the delicacies of the night. I also want to give respect where it's due. I want to recognize the presence of Justice David Musinga, President of the Court of Appeal, together with the spouse. Karibu sana, please appreciate. Thank you, Justice Mbogoli Msaga. Pia we recognize you. Appreciate him, please. Justice, the daughter. Appreciate you. Thank you for gracing this occasion. Thank you for coming. At this point, because we are very late, so DJ Plus as we invite our next speaker, who is none else but the chairperson of ICJ, Protas Sainde. Please come. Appreciate him. Endelea DJ. Thank you. Thank you, DJ. Welcome.
The chief guest, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I agree with the MC Wakili. You actually all look amazing from here and well fed. Let me begin by recognizing and appreciating the presence of our chief guest, Her Excellency Margaret Whitman, United States of America Ambassador to Kenya. Thank you for joining us in this auspicious ceremony. Thank you all for joining us today as we mark the 29th Annual Jurist of the Year Award ceremony. Every 10th December is a monumental date on our ICJ calendar. We not only commemorate International Human Rights Day, which falls on 10th of December, but because it's a Saturday, we celebrate it today. But we also come together to celebrate an outstanding jurist. The award acknowledges and honors the contributions of an exceptional jurist who has worked selflessly and courageously towards promoting and protecting human rights, justice, rule of law, and good governance in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a historical year in our republic, characterized by a peaceful election cycle and transition period. Elections have been an integral part of our democracy since independence. I applaud us all for exercising our right to vote and maintaining peace. Unlike the previous election cycles, this year's elections were more efficient, with fewer human rights violations. In this election cycle, we emphatically celebrate the advancement of women in politics and the increasing focus on participation by members of minority communities, persons with disabilities, and other marginalized groups. We also commend the various election observation groups for recognizing the strides that Kenya has taken to uphold and advance justice and the rule of law during this electioneering period. Kenya's human rights trajectory has remained a concern, with authorities failing to ensure accountability for serious abuses. Extrajudicial killings by police have remained largely unaddressed. Gender-based violence cases, female genital mutilation, and forced early marriages are on the rise. The courts also take long to adjudicate on human rights violation cases. It is against this background that we honor and celebrate a dedicated jurist who has fiercely promoted human rights, justice, and the rule of law. Distinguished guests, aside from the election cycle, it is not uncommon to hear about human rights violations and injustices in our day-to-day lives. In keeping with this year's International Human Rights Day theme of dignity, freedom, and justice for all, it is important to recognize persons working to uphold human rights, justice, and the rule of law, and make them a reality for all. As Pope Francis once posited, human dignity is the same for all human beings. When I trample on the dignity of another, I am trampling on my own. It is in this regard that we are here today to celebrate some great jurists who remained steadfast in promoting and protecting human rights and the rule of law. Jurists who had a burning desire to achieve beyond the ordinary. Do we have a reason to celebrate? Yes, because this year will be incomplete without recognizing an outstanding jurist who defied all challenges and remained dedicated to upholding human rights and the rule of law. With those few remarks, I thank you once again for joining us today. I would now like to welcome our council member, actually our vice chair, to give a brief on the capital campaign, Mr. Chris Gitari.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I will ask the team to proceed.
ICJ Kenya was established in 1959 with a mission to promote human rights, justice, rule of law, and democracy in Kenya and around Africa through the application of legal expertise and international best practices.
Human rights is important because we are human beings with inherent dignity because we are created in the image of God. And therefore, no government can give or take away human rights.
Greatness of a nation lies in its fidelity to the Constitution, the rule of law, and above all, the fear of God.
ICJ Kenya has continued its work in promoting progressive, democratic, and open societies, acting as a watchdog in promoting good governance, social cohesion, and respect for the rule of law, as well as promoting human rights and accountability in Kenya and the region.
As lawyers, we have, an obligation to share knowledge. At least in every profession, we have an obligation to share knowledge to help to enhance the lives of other people who are around us.
We have promoted human rights and protected people's rights and enhanced democracy in the country.
ICJ Kenya has come up with a strategic intervention of providing technical support to partners, to stakeholders working on decriminalizing petty offenses. It also supports structured reviews and reforms of the criminal justice system and institutions. For the love of ICJ Kenya, are you willing to support a good cause on human rights and the rule of law? ICJ Kenya is launching a capital campaign themed Footprints of Justice that seeks to bring together human rights champions to fundraise for the sustainability of a just, inclusive, and equitable society where everyone lives in dignity in accordance to ICJ Kenya's vision. Here are some of our proposed activities.
Thank you very much. As you can see, this capital campaign is a multifaceted approach in which we seek to take full ownership of the very beautiful building you saw at the beginning of that clip, ICJ House. And really, this is part of our financial sustainability strategy. And we will be therefore launching this campaign, and we will have you with you in mind. We'll be, of course, also engaging our membership, and we will hope that you will open your hearts and your pockets. But essentially, this goes to the core part of the organization to ensure that the organization is able to be sustainable and therefore more effective. And therefore, I thank you, and we will be engaging, and therefore, with the permission of the chair and council and the former chairman's or chairperson's forum, we declare this capital campaign launched. I'm the chair of the members committee, and we engage with members, and we try to do that. And this was only established this year just to get more robust membership. But I think we'll also be going out and engaging with different facets of the society and partners to ensure that we have a sustained campaign that is successful. So we look forward to working with you, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
I'm back, not to give another speech. My role now is just to welcome our chief guest, Her Excellency, Ms. Margaret Whitman. Welcome.
Well, good evening. And you all look great. That seems what one does at these events. Well, good evening, and thank you to the Kenyan section of the International Commission of Jurists for inviting me to address this gala event, recognizing the significant contributions of one individual to fight for rule of law, human rights, and access to justice in Kenya. It's truly an honor to be with you tonight. You know, I did a little homework. The previous Jurist of the Year awardees are a very impressive group, and many are leaders in Kenya's justice system. They've been instrumental in advocating for democratic principles, human rights, the rule of law, as well as the rights of women and minorities in Kenya. And the United States and Kenya enjoy a very close cooperation on the justice sector reforms and shared priorities for governance. A significant number of previous award winners are alumni of our US exchange programs and have had the opportunity to learn about the US justice system in the United States. And last week, Chief Justice Comey told me that she participated in a US exchange program early in her career. And this evening, the Chief Justice is unable to attend. I know she wanted very much to attend, but she's currently in Washington meeting with leaders and the Chief Justice, John Roberts. I'm sorry she's unable to join us tonight, as we greatly admire Chief Justice Comey's efforts to improve access to justice by bringing courts closer to the public. In the United States, as in Kenya, we rely on the judiciary and the dedicated professionals to safeguard our civic space. A functioning democracy is not possible without the rule of law, good governance, due process of the legal system, and access to justice. Within the United States government systems of checks and balances, the judiciary safeguards rule of law as set out by the legislative branch and implemented by the executive branch. Kenya's constitution provides for similar protections. In both countries, civil society organizations, such as International Commission of Jurists, play a vital role as watchdogs and advocates for societies governed by laws rather than by individuals or vested interests. The strength of Kenya's democracy was certainly on full display during the August general elections. The United States supported the process with funding for election-related activities, including civic and voter education, training for electoral institutions, and peace messaging that reached over 8 million people. While many different civic and religious leaders contributed to this success, I especially want to commend Chief Justice Comey and the Supreme Court judges for their role in supporting a free, fair, transparent, and peaceful election. When disputes arose, the parties took their petitions to the Supreme Court, and the justices ruled on the issues in accordance with the law of the land. While not everyone agreed with the rulings, they nonetheless respected the Supreme Court as the final arbiter of the Kenyan Constitution. Kenya's judiciary offered the world an example of how to resolve disputes through the courts rather than in the streets. Now, with the elections behind Kenya and the new administration settling in, the question is, how will Kenya advance to the next level of development and achieve the prosperity that its citizens deserve? In my meeting with the Chief Justice last week, we discussed a number of priorities, but I want to focus on one challenge that stood out. In my first few months as ambassador to Kenya, as well as in my previous visits, I've been struck by this country's vast potential, a young, educated, ambitious workforce, abundant natural resources, a reliable digital and physical infrastructure. I believe Kenya can achieve significant socioeconomic advancement by addressing one issue in particular, and that issue is corruption. Coincidentally, today is International Anti-Corruption Day, so it seems fitting to dig into the issue and the strategies for tackling it. As we all know, corruption leads to the misuse of public resources, hinders development, slows economic growth and job creation, and damages the investment climate. Corruption also undermines equal participation in the prosperity of this country and erodes public trust in institutions. On Monday, I was in the audience when President Ruto addressed the National Council on the Administration of Justice. And he said the following, quote, "Zero tolerance to corruption is a meaningful proposition." That sounds like a clear mandate for all of us. As U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, my focus is really on three things. One is partnering with Kenya to increase bilateral trade and investment, help to promote regional peace and security, and support Kenya's development goals. And I'm not here to preach or point fingers. Every nation struggles with corruption, including the United States. But I do want to share something I've learned from my more than 40 years as a leader. Changing an entrenched culture requires commitment, it requires transparency, and it requires trust. It also requires strong partnerships and strengthening governance, improving transparency, and standing up unequivocally for the rule of law and accountability, especially in the public sector. This will enable Kenya to achieve next level economic growth and prosperity. As we have done through our nearly 60-year relationship, the United States supports these goals and stands ready to offer additional resources and partnership, especially as Kenya seeks to strengthen its judicial system. Now, as I said, corruption is no means just a Kenyan problem. It affects every country around the world and every socioeconomic class. Fighting corruption is a priority for the United States as well. Just last year, President Biden launched the U.S. strategy on countering corruption, and we are implementing a new Corporate Transparency Act. We also hold U.S. companies and their representatives around the world accountable through the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. In fact, anti-corruption is a pillar of President Joe Biden's initiatives for democratic renewal and the Summit for Democracy. As President Biden pointed out, corruption threatens the United States' national security, economic prosperity, global anti-poverty and development areas, and it threatens democracy itself. But by effectively preventing and countering corruption and demonstrating the advantages of transparent and accountable governance, we can secure a critical advantage for the United States and other democracies. The United States and Kenya are cooperating at the highest levels to strengthen democratic institutions and build public trust in the justice system. Kenya was an important contributor to President Biden's inaugural Summit for Democracy 1 year ago. At the summit, Kenya reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening the fight against corruption by continuing to develop accountable institutions. And I'm pleased that Kenya has announced it will participate in the second Summit for Democracy next March. Next week, Kenya is a key participant in the U.S. Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C., which features a civil society forum focused on building sustainable partnerships. And we remain committed to working with Kenya to promote good governance and improve public trust in institutions. The United States has supported judicial reform efforts in Kenya for well over a decade, and we will continue to support these efforts in part because they are central to fighting against corruption. And just to name a few examples, the United States funds a capacity building project at the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, and that has improved the quality and speed of investigations into human rights abuses, impunity, and corruption since 2015. Since 2020, the United States has assigned a resident legal advisor to Kenya to help train, mentor, and advise Kenyan investigators, prosecutors, and judicial officials on effective handling of anti-corruption cases. We also provided support to the Milimani Anti-Corruption Court. During the pandemic, we provided 2 open-air tents as well as technology to allow the court to continue processing cases despite the restrictions on in-person hearings. Earlier this year, we sponsored 10 anti-corruption jurists on a visit to Washington, D.C. to witness court proceedings, meet American judges and attorneys, and learn about case management best practices in our federal courts. And I heard that our jurists learned a lot as well from your jurists. Just last week, we hosted a workshop for 39 members of the Court Users Committee focused on active case management, interagency communication, and integrity insurance. The U.S. government is also launching a $6 million anti-corruption program with Kenya to decrease fraud, waste, and abuse in key service delivery sectors at the county level, and will partner with key institutions such as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. You know, the United States and Kenya have a very strong partnership on these issues, but there's always more we can do together. And I invite you all to join in partnership to strengthen the rule of law and put an end to corruption in all its forms. The fight against corruption starts with each one of us as we go about our daily lives. We can and we must expect more of ourselves, our neighbors, our colleagues, and our leaders. Rooting out corruption is what ultimately will unlock the next economic development age and growth for Kenya. As we continue this fight, more Kenyans will begin to see the economic, political, and social benefits of a more just society. Public trust in Kenyan One final point to everyone in this room: your work matters. Lawyers, judges, independent commissioners, journalists, human rights defenders, and civil society activists are all providing important public and private sector oversight. The group assembled here this evening is particularly well positioned to champion good governance and the importance of integrity in the public awareness, and to ensure that the law applies equally to everyone. Your work to fight for rule of law strengthens the public trust in democratic institutions, combats systemic injustices, and creates a more level playing field, all crucial contributors to economic prosperity. So I personally am looking forward to the announcement of this year's awardee, who I know will serve as an inspiration to the people of Kenya, the African continent, and the world. Asante sana.
One more time, please appreciate Her Excellency Ambassador Magu. Thank you. Thank you so much. I remember last year, courtesy of ICJ, we were, I think, in Zanzibar, and there was one of the panelists that was sharing on decriminalization of petty offenses. Said at one point in their country, a judge decided to jog early in the morning in some part of the town. And of course, he was in his tracksuit. And I believe their systems are like ours. You know, that's called Kaju. They showed up and they arrested the judge. So the judge protested the arrest. And he told them, I'm a judge. And the guy said, and I'm the Pope. So of course, taken to the cells. But before he was arraigned, of course, calls were made. And shock on them, it was actually a judge who had been arrested for loitering. Yeah, and so was mad with the cops. He told the cops, I am not speaking anything until my lawyer is present. My lawyer present is here. So and until I see my lawyer is present, and somebody is asking, but you are the lawyer. No, I need my lawyer present. So what do you mean? He said, my present. I'm a lawyer, so give me my present. So next time you are arrested as a lawyer, So don't worry. So now, some friends of ours, they come from a place called Central. Are they here? Are they here? So so I need to show you a dance. It's called chapati. Like this. So basically, that's what you do for this one. So you know, to Central, okay. So this imagine an imaginary good. Sorry. So you can Sarah. So here. There. I can see Adowanyoba, very nice. I like that. Then they usually beat some drums called Darama. Get your imaginary Darama. Very nice. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Clap for yourself. Please have your seat, have your seat, have your seat. Thank you very much. So relax a bit. I am sure I have somehow brought some cheer to the Brazilians in the house. Don't worry. Which one is the next game? Sorry for that. Which is the next game? The England versus what? France, eh? That's the next one. Don't worry, we'll be done by then. So we'll get a chance to see. So I want to invite Gavin and the man please come. Yes. Thank you. Asante, thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. So I want to also make a few connections with some guest justice. You can see she's just working as justice. Justice Judge presiding judge Kisumu High Court. Side, Sana, welcome. I saw you dancing with me. Thank you very much. It was encouraging. It was encouraging seeing you joining us on this side. And of course, also Honorable Prosecution, Mr. Nudin Haji, Sana. Sana. So for the next item, going forward, I want to invite the chair, JOYA committee, Helen, on Kwani Tafadhali. Please make your way here. Please appreciate her. She makes her way here. Thank you.
Stand up. It's a special recognition to you, all of you. Thank you for coming today. Please, you may have your seats. It's a pleasure to have all of you in the room today. I didn't see Judge Msaha, but only stand. Please stand and send wave. Thank you. He interviewed me when I joined as a magistrate in the judiciary. And I asked him a question, when am I going to start working? They all laughed. Yes, I'm going to make a special recognition to my president, the president of the International Association for Women Judges, where I serve as the secretary. Justice Murgo, please wave. I was told one time that when you are given an opportunity to speak and let people know who you are, isn't it? Good. So my name is Helen Onkwani. I'm a principal magistrate. I serve at Makadara Law Court. I am the chair of the JOYA Award. And I have my committee members present today. Please, I invite you to come to the podium. Please clap for them. And I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and say a word before we proceed.
Good evening, everyone. I will adopt the protocol that has been presented by Honorable Helen to save on time. My name is Beverly Ongaro. I'm an advocate of High Court of Kenya, and I was part of this particular committee. It was an exciting moment where we had time to take off our matching shoes and reflect for a moment who amongst us deserve to be the jurist of the year, which we'll know shortly. Enjoy.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'll also take the precedent and adopt that protocol to save on time. My name is Gwandaro Doita. I am an advocate practicing here in Nairobi, and I'm happy to have served in this committee. And for once, I feel like a judge and a magistrate when I'm next to Helen, and I see the judges and the magistrates amongst us. Thank you very much.
And as you can see today, at least human rights and the third gender rule, we only have one man today. I'm very proud to chair this committee. Please give us a clap. Thank you. So my mandate is very limited. I'm going to take you through the rules of the JOYA award, a few of the rules. And I'm going to take you to rule number 23, which states that in electing a jurist of the year and making the award, the committee shall be guided by the following. The jurist of the year must be a Kenyan jurist or a person who has made considerable contribution to the advancement of the ideals of ICJ Kenya, rule of law, human rights, and democratic governance in Kenya. Number 2 is the jurist of the year should be honorable and distinguished, whose election draws inspiration and encourages others to champion human rights, the rule of law, and ideals of ICJ Kenya. Number 3 is the jurist of the year must have consistently demonstrated exceptional courage and determination in upholding the rule of law, human rights, and democratic ideals, even at the risk of punishment, deprivation, loss of personal liberty or life. Number 4 is the jurist of the year should be a person of unquestionable integrity, honesty, and a leading example in society. Number 5 is a person who has had only a transient or monetary interest in human rights, rule of law, and democratic ideals shall not be elected. Number 6 is the jurist of the year must not be a person who is, in the opinion of the committee, has engaged in activities which undermine the ideals of ICJ, Kenya, human rights, the inviolability and integrity of the human person and rule of law and democratic principles. And number 7 is that the jurist of the year need not be a member of ICJ Kenya, but must be a jurist qualified to become a member of ICJ Kenya under the ICJ Kenya Constitution. Number 8, the recipient must not have been a previous recipient of the award. Number 9, sitting members of the committee, council, and present staff of ICJ Kenya shall not be eligible for nomination. And number 10 is the principle of gender equality. Number 11 is the award must be given in absentia, may be given in absentia or posthumously. Number 12 is any other consideration that the committee may deem fit, subject to the approval of the annual general meeting of the ICJ Kenya. So the committee has the powers to investigate, carry out the further research, and request for information of the nominees. And that is what exactly my committee did. And rule number 25 is any canvassing for nominees or potential nominees will lead to their automatic disqualification. So if you actually canvass for anyone, that is an automatic disqualification. And the proceedings of the committee shall be very confidential. I know all of you, as you are here today, you don't even know who is going to get the award. So those are the rules, and we encourage our members who are here, please be on the lookout for our next nominee for the next year. Thank you so much. So I'm going to invite the ICT team to play a short video.
I am Firoz Namroji, recipient among the first of the award of the ICJ Jurist of the Year. I received it in 1995.
My name is Martha Wakari Karoa, Jurist of the Year recipient, 1999.
My name is George Uwe. I'm a human rights lawyer. I'm a democracy activist, and I was the Jurist of the Year award recipient for the year 2000.
My name is Willie Kunga, a recipient of the Jurist of the Year award 2003.
My name is Joaquin Mo. I am a judge of the Supreme Court of Kenya. I received the Jurist of the Year award from ICJ in 2000.
My name is Daniel Musinga. I am the president of the Court of Appeal. I was Jurist of the Year award recipient in 2011.
My name is Lawrence Mute. I teach at the Faculty of Law of the University of Nairobi. I was Jurist of the Year award recipient in 2012.
I am Ruby Gomes. I'm a judge of the Court of Appeal. I was the recipient of the Jurist of the Year Award in 2013.
My name is David Maraga, the immediate retired Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and Supreme Court of Kenya. I was Jurist of the Year Award recipient the year excellent.
My name is Isaac Lenau, Judge of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Judge, the State Special Court of Sierra and recipient of the Year Award 2020.
My name is Jedida Waruyo. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and also the Jurist of the Year Award recipient 2020.
Hi, I'm Jim Mohammed Haji, Director of the Prosecutions Department of Kenya. I'm Jurist of the Year Award recipient 2021.
Let's give them a clap. I'm very glad that most of the recipients are with us tonight. Isn't it a great pleasure for the person who is going to receive it today? But please, let's give them a clap. So I'm going to invite Elsie to come and take us to the next step. Thank you.
The Jurist of the Year Award 20.
You'll be pleased to know that I'm not the one announcing who the recipient for the 2022 award is. But at ICJ, we are a family, and we believe in nurturing young jurists. Tonight, we're privileged to have a very young jurist, a 13-year-old. May I invite Kenny to come to the stage? Kenny is our special guest today, and he will help us announce who the Jurist of 2022 ICJ Kenya recipient is.
Thank you. You all look well. Okay, the 2022 Jurist of the Year Award citation. Since 1993, the Kenyan section of the International Commission of Jurists, ICJ Kenya, has each year recognized the achievements of one outstanding jurist dedicated to promoting and protecting human rights. The award was introduced both to commemorate International Human Rights Day and to recognize and honor the contributions of an exceptional jurist. This year, our distinguished jurist has an intriguing reputation for pushing legal boundaries and challenging the status quo. This professional trait has earned him recognition nationally, regionally, and internationally. Our jurist has earned a reputation for and contributed to Kenya's transformative and innovative legal reforms through his legal prowess as a human rights defender, jurist, and scholar. His keen attention to detail is contagious. His energy, passion-driven, and genuine belief in the rule of law have got him noticed among his peers and the general public. By way of background, our jurist has had an illustrious legal career, legal training, and education. His passion for human rights issues was evident as a law student. While studying at the University of Nairobi in Kenya, where he obtained his undergraduate degree in 1996, his thesis focused on the Maasai land question, a scheme of systematic deprivation. While studying at Harvard University, where he obtained his master's degree in 1999, the focus of his thesis was Indigenous people's rights in the international law fabric, the case of the Maasai people of Southern Kenya. He served as a teaching assistant at Harvard University in the United Nations and Human Rights course at the Kennedy School of Government in 2000. He received his Doctor of Juridical Studies
From Harvard University in 2002, he received the John Gallup Lenin Prize in International Law at Harvard Law School in 2002 for his doctoral dissertation. Additionally, he received many merit fellowships and grants from Harvard Law School, including the Clark Bice Fellowship for Academic Distinction and the European Law Research Center Seminar Fellowship. The Institute for the Study of World Politics, Washington, D.C., and the MacArthur Weatherhead Center for International Affairs also awarded him research grants. Our jurist is not only an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, but is also licensed and has practiced law in Massachusetts, United States. His passion for human rights crystallized during his tenure as a professor of law at the University of Washington from 2004 to 2011, where he taught several human rights courses. He served as the academic director for African Studies Study Abroad program on health and human rights for Kenya during this time. Additionally, he was a member of the university's Human Rights Steering Committee and the faculty advisor for the Center of Human Rights and Justice. At the University of Washington School of Law, he won several awards for his exemplary teaching skills, including 2 as a Professor of the Year. He won the Philip A. Troutman Professor of the Year in 2004 to 2005 and the 2010 to 2011. Our jurist joined the judiciary in 2011 as a judge of the High Court of Kenya and served as a presiding judge at Nakuru High Court, presiding judge at Kiambu High Court, and a judge in Machakos. As a judge, he has demonstrated unparalleled boldness in upholding human rights and the rule of law in Kenya. He has served in several high-profile multi-judge bench cases, including the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020, of the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI, petitions in 2021, ballot tender Al-Ghurair case in 2017, the Lapset case in 2019, the SGR case in 2020, and the Mui Basin case in 2015. As a single judge, he has also handled several high-profile murder cases, including the Kihui Muri cases and the Principal's murder case. Additionally, he determined the case of Sudi Oscar Kipchumba versus Republic through the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, where he upheld the rights of the person in pre-charge detention to be released on pre-charge bail. Our jurist is a passionate and seasoned leader and has served in many leadership positions in the judiciary. He's a former head of the Judiciary Transformation Secretariat, responsible for coordinating the implementation of the Judiciary Transformation Framework, 2012 to 2016. The blueprint that guided comprehensive reforms in the Kenyan judiciary after the promulgation of Kenya's constitution in 2010. At the Judiciary Transformation Secretariat, he passionately championed judiciary transformation with much effectiveness, as demonstrated by the speed with which the reforms were accepted and embedded in the consciousness of most staff members. He deepened this work during his tenure at the Judiciary Training Institute from 2012 to 2016, helping institutionalize the idea that continuous judicial education is imperative for a well-performing judiciary. He has also served in many significant committees and task forces in the judiciary. They include committees or task forces that have generated critical judicial policies or guidelines, including the following: the Steering Committee of Active Case Management, the Technical Committee on Criminal Procedure Bench Book, the Judicial Task Force on Sentencing, the Task Force on Bail Bond, the Committee on Code of Conduct, which produced the draft Judiciary Code of Conduct in 2018, the Committee on Judiciary Disability Mainstreaming Policy in 2016. Our jurist was appointed by the Honorable Chief Justice to represent him in the Kenya Council for Legal Education and the Kenya School of Law Board. Because of his passion for expanding the scope of access to justice, our jurist has spearheaded the discourse and push for alternative justice in Kenya as an avenue for expanding access to justice. In 2016, he was appointed chair of the Judiciary Task Force on Alternative Justice Systems. During his tenure, the task force developed the National Steering Committee for implementing the Alternative Justice System policy. He currently serves as the chair of the National Steering Committee for implementing the Alternative Justice Systems policy. The judiciary integrated the alternative justice system to support the dispensation of justice following an increase in case backlog and inadequate manpower. The alternative justice system model was officially launched in 2021. The implication is that the judiciary should promote access to alternative mechanisms of access to justice beyond courts, and that litigants have various options for redressing social grievances. Our jurist has engendered diligence and a robust sense of innovation in both his work in court and his administrative deployments. In court, he became a pioneer and an early adapter of active case management in criminal cases to improve the speed and quality of the criminal justice system. He has consistently worked diligently to quickly resolve disputes that do not require much jurisprudential or doctrinal innovation or application, while writing reasoned opinions in those requiring substantial judicial attention. Case backlogs and delays have been substantially reduced in all stations he has served. In each station, he also brought significant operational reforms to improve the speed and quality of justice dispensation, including in registry operation and customer service. Our jurist is widely published. He has published more than 10 articles in peer-reviewed journals and book chapters. In addition to his work as a judge, he continues to receive and accept many invitations to speak to judicial, academic, and other audiences, both in Kenya and abroad, on a wide range of topics, including judicial reforms, alternative justice systems, human rights, and transformational leadership. He has made more than 100 scholarly and professional presentations at various conferences, colloquia, workshops, and gatherings. Our jurist is a mentor for many young and seasoned legal minds, always at hand to assist, embrace, and nurture talent, a rare quality befitting of a jurist of his stature. Our Jurist of the Year, recently appointed a judge of the Court of Appeal of Kenya, is one of Kenya's bold and progressive judges, making precedent-setting decisions. Despite his meritorious career, perhaps his greatest accomplishment lies in the fact that our jurist is a model father. His ambition, his drive, and work ethic makes him the perfect mentor and role model, always at hand to assist and correct if need be. Most importantly, his innate jovial nature and contagious energy makes for an aura of confidence that can light up any room. To a man alive to the place of law in society, committed to interpreting the law courageously and ambitiously without fear or favor, we are honored to present this year's Jurist of the Year Award to Honorable Justice Professor Joel Mwawango. Behold, you appear today with pride and dignity, and most of all, with gratitude for all you do for this country and the people of Kenya. You are a true inspiration.
Yeah. He comes back. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Honorable Justice Joel Ngugi. Allow me now to have the honor of having Kenny be present and invite the MC to invite dignitaries to hand over the award to the 2022 Jurist of the Year. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, thank you. This young man is about to steal my job, boss. Come slowly. Come slowly. Well, how many years in me, my brother? Come slowly. He's done a fantastic job, right? You have changed the school, my brother. Fantastic. How do you name family with your brother, your colleague, man? How do you do that? I should share notes, eh? Tent. See me behind the tent, eh? Okay? So I want to invite Ambassador, His Excellency, Her Excellency. Please please appreciate her. She makes her way here. Her Excellency Margaret, welcome, so that we can formally invite our recipient for JOYA 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for our winner for 2022 JOYA Jurists of the Year 2022, Justice Professor Joel Ngugi. We have the award. Please, we invite our judges who are present to please also come so that we can celebrate this moment together. Six. So okay.
Watch out.
Congratulations. A round of applause, please, to our Jurist of the Year 2022, Honorable Justice Professor Joel Ngugi. Congratulations. Congratulations, congratulations. Yes, congratulations. Beautiful. We are happy for you. We are happy with you. So may I request our judges to make their way back. I will remain with the recipient there together with your young son there next to you. Thank you, our judges. Thank you. So, thank you. Wait. Wow. Thank you. Please, our recipient, please remain here. Honorable Justice Professor Ngudi, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have our seats. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ. So once, you know, he has to make the acceptance speech. We need to know whether you have accepted or not before we proceed to the other part. So we'll have photos. So bear with us as I invite Honorable Judge back to the podium for the acceptance speech. Please appreciate him as he makes his way here.
Now I know I should have watched those Oscar, because then I would have known exactly how to behave. Please allow me to adopt the protocols. Our chief guests, honorable judges who are present, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am truly beyond humbled, and I'm so grateful for the privilege of this award. In fact, had my namesake, Mombi Ngugi, Judge of Appeal, not already have received this award in 2013, I would have believed that it was an accident, that the nomination committee actually meant her. And then Elsie made a mistake and made a call to me instead. And then it was too late and too awkward to correct the mistake. Anyway, I thank the nominations committee and ICJ Kenya, with whom I have had a lot of collaborations over the years. A million thanks to my family for their undying support. My wife, Professor Sylvia Kangara, who is present, and my children. Including Kioni, who's done a wonderful job with the citation. The twins, Sherry and Shenga, could not be here, but they earned their recognition for keeping me grounded. Thanks to my mom, Mama Lucy, for those who know me, and my siblings, including my niece, lovely niece, Evelyn, who is here, and the whole extended family as well. I would, of course, be remiss if I did not acknowledge my judiciary family. And I really appreciate all of you who are here, beginning with my president, Justice Musinga, who is a past recipient of this award. I want to thank all my judiciary family for their support, cooperation, and collaboration in the last 11 years that I've been a judge. Finally, there is a band of other law brothers who have stood with me and besides me since our law school days. My brother Cyprian Ngodari Mugambi, who is here, thank you for coming. And Jelvas Musawa and Jenganje here, who could not be here. Every boy child needs true friends like you. Still, I believe that this award is not mine. This award is meant for the many faceless Kenyans who daily fight for the Kenyan Constitution and constitutionalism. It is intended for the many nameless Kenyans who diurnally fight for the rule of law. This is not my award. It is an award for the ordinary Kenyan who stands up every day for the Constitution and lives its aspirations, even without calling it by name. I am merely their proxy. Our recent constitutional history has taught us a number of important lessons. The first one is that the work of liberty is never done, and that the art of perfecting the Constitution, especially the transformative variety like ours, imbuing it with contextual meanings that speak to the lived realities of the people, is never completed. It is always an ongoing work, beckoning each generation to translate their struggles for social justice within its bounds, calling them to script their quotidian quests for social meaning, equality, equity, solidarity, and fraternity in its deliberate grammar of justice. This is exactly why Kenyans created for themselves the kind of judiciary they have in the Constitution, a robustly independent judiciary peopled by judges and judicial officers who are competent to translate social struggles into constitutional and legal meanings. The Kenyan people rejected the image of the judge as a high priest of technocracy, adept at performing root canal formalist analysis to preserve the status quo or bring about oppressive majoritarian change. Instead, the Kenyan people created a judge who is infused with a value-laden ethos of transformation, informed by our history and our collective ambition as a people. The ethos they infused in the conscientious judge is inscribed first in Article 19 of the Constitution, which informs the judge, as indeed informs all Kenyans, that the purpose of recognizing and protecting human rights and fundamental freedoms is first to preserve the dignity of individuals and communities, second, to promote social justice, and third, to promote the realization of the potential of all human beings. We, judges and judicial officers, must never forget this solemn and proactive responsibility that Kenyans have placed in our hands. Protect dignity of all. Promote social justice for all. Promote the potential of all human beings. This is the kind of stuff that attracted me to the law in the first place. Now, I'm one of the few lucky people who remember exactly when they made a decision to become a lawyer. Sabasaba Day, 1990, found me as a finalist student at Alliance High School. Many would recall that 1990 was a year of great tumult in Kenya. The clamor for multipartyism was at its peak. The opposition leaders, among them many prominent human rights lawyers, had organized a rally on Sabasaba Day at Kamkunji grounds to press the government to allow for multipartyism. The security forces ferociously descended on them, brutally clobbered them, viciously assaulted them, and then arrested some. Indeed, a few like Charles Rubia and Stanley Matiba had been detained just before Sabasaba Day. I recall reading a copy of the Daily Nation the day after Sabasaba at the inner senior prefect's common room. There was a picture of Paul Moite, senior counsel. He seemed to stare straight at the security forces as if to dare them, and bowed in the face of astonishing show of crude force. There was a story about how Mr. Moite had eluded the police as they attempted to arrest him. They had earlier arrested his then partner, now Supreme Court Justice Mohammed Ibrahim. There was a defiant quote by Mr. Moite about how Kenyans will not rest until multipartyism was returned and the constitution changed. Then, at the back of the newspaper, and you know, the juicy stuff is always at the back, there was a photo of Mr. Moite's wife. The editor made a point to describe her as a medical doctor. She looked beautiful and elegant, and she was quoted as calling for the government to stop harassing her husband and agitators for human rights. At that moment, I instantly wanted to be Paul Moite. It seemed endlessly cool to be a human rights lawyer, and of course, to have such a beautiful and elegant wife. Now, Mr. Moite, I should say I went ahead and acquired a beautiful and elegant wife myself. Now, of course, Mr. Paul Moite would go on to do great things and later on to be named a Jurist of the Year in 2015 for his lifelong struggle for human rights, rule of law, and constitutionalism. I salute you, Senior Counsel Paul Moite. You have been a true inspiration to me. I must add that while I prayed to be a human rights lawyer like you, Mr. Moite, I must have forgotten to also pray to be a successful and rich litigator like you. I was granted only what I prayed for, to be the human rights part, while of course, I took a vow of poverty in being first a law professor and then, as if that was not bad enough, a judge. Now, the second lesson from our recent constitutional history is the durability of our constitution. Many Kenyans now say that our constitution is capable of fighting for itself. Katiba inajilinda, as Kenyans on Twitter famously say. The constitution has been equipped with its own self-defense mechanism. I think Kenyans are right. Indeed, it is the beauty and the promise of this constitution that beckoned me from the relative comfort of William Gates Hall at the University of Washington School of Law as a tenured associate professor of law to come home and become a High Court judge in 2011. This constitution triggers in me my native optimism for Kenya, and I wanted so badly to be part of its implementation. I realized that our transformative constitution has its own ammunition to barricade itself from destruction. It gives the ammunition to those ready to defend it or those charged with the responsibility to interpret it, such as judges. The Kenyan constitution is radical in including its own theory of interpretation to prevent the elites from subverting it. It is also transformative in three key ways. First, it protects the few from the many politically. Second, it protects the many from the few economically. And third, it protects the weak from the powerful structurally. In these three protections, the Constitution is a powerful emancipatory tool for all Kenyans to preserve their dignity, to promote social justice, to promote the potential of all human beings. That is why there is no greater fulfillment for me, no greater honor than to wake up every morning and to go to work when my job description includes the interpretation, the giving meaning to, the enforcement of this radical human rights and governance charter. To be recognized for doing that work, for me, is an added bonus, an icing to the cake. But to work every day to bring to life the project Kenyans scribed in the Constitution in 2010 is adequate honor in itself. However, it is important to acknowledge, even as we celebrate the durability of our Constitution, that there are dark clouds looming, threatening our polity and social fabric. And that threat is not just that Brazil has just lost in the World Cup. The single greatest threat to our constitutional democracy, one anticipated by our Constitution, but not prioritized by the political, economic, and legal elites charged with its implementation, is the failure to animate credible mechanisms for sharing our resources and prosperity as a country. There is a reason the Constitution pairs human dignity with social justice. There can be no human dignity in the midst of iniquitous want of basic human and social needs for the greater majority of the population, while others swim in depraved opulence. The Constitution teaches us to see the lack of social justice as injustice. And it teaches us to have virtuous anger at injustice. The Constitution gives us the tools and the ability to see and experience anger at social injustice. And as Audre Lorde, the American feminist poet, taught us, anger transformed into action is a liberating and strengthening act of clarification. It is the kind of anger that will destroy patriarchy, not buildings. It is the kind of anger that will blitz negative ethnicity and nepotism, not stone vehicles and destroy property. It is the kind of anger that will attack oppressive economic structures that manufacture poverty among our people. It is the kind of anger that will invade the norms that script human depravity into law and economic relations. It is the kind of anger that is focused on transformation, the kind of virtuous anger that includes all the oppressed people as its focus, the kind of righteous anger that organically teaches us that we are not really free until everyone is free. So, ladies and gentlemen, my call for you today is to harness the virtuous anger that the Constitution teaches us to have, to see the massive failures to share prosperity and resources that is structurally inbuilt in our economic and political system, and to use the tools the Constitution has bequeathed us to bring about the required transformation. For, ladies and gentlemen, human rights is a chimera in the midst of mass poverty. Democracy ni kupigia mbuzi gitaa in the midst of manufactured economic ones. And human dignity is a mere buzzword in the midst of the kind of economic concentration we have in our society. So I look forward to seeing future Jurists of the Year awardees who have dedicated their careers to animating the constitutional tools for sharing our prosperity. Once again, I thank ICJ Kenya for this great honor to be a recipient of this award and to join this illustrious alumni for this award. And once again, I thank all of you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
DJ, as you give us some music as you do this. So NCBA Bank gift hamper. Thank you. Those are our partners. Thank you. Thank you, NCBA Bank. Thank you so much. Please be careful of our backdrop. Thank you. Thank you, NCBA Bank. Thank you very much. I want to invite your family back so you can have a photo with your family. Please come. Let's have the family. Thank you. You can remain with the plate there. Yeah. I want you to stay with him. So, yeah. Yes, you stay with it there. Let's have your photo alone there first. Then may I have our chief guests, Her Excellency Ambassador Margaret Whitman, please. Please come and join me. Ambassador, Her Excellency, yes. While the two of you are there, please join them. Ambassador, Her Excellency, please don't leave. Yeah, we need a photo with the three of you up there. Then council members will join after this. Council members, please join in. Yeah, please be careful about our backdrop. Some of you might disappear suddenly. Okay. Yes, and you're smiling. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. We can have the recipient along, JOYA committee. Thank you. Then all recipients, previous recipients of JOYA, please join after this. Previous recipients of JOYA, please join. Yes, after this, previous recipients of JOYA, thank you. Previous recipients of JOYA, please join in. Recipients of us. ICJ staff, after this ICJ staff, after this ICJ staff. You're good? Okay. ICJ staff, please come now. After this, we'll have our partners. After ICJ staff, we'll have our partners take a photo with our recipient for 2022 awards. Please pay attention here. We need 2 lines. Thank you, thank you. Our partners, please come. Our partners, please come. Our partners. Please come. Yeah. Thank you. One minute.
Okay.
Yes, I'm told the professors from together from our university. Okay, please join me. Congratulations. Yes, yes, I was told just the final one, I was told by someone that they might think I'm just an MC, so I need to put my mic down so that they know I'm also aware. So thank you, ma'am, for your attention. We can settle down now. So settle down now. We need to So please settle down. We need to have a lot of things. Then after we have short video ICJ. Of course, I will still time. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I invite member Christian Light to come and give a vote of thanks on behalf of ICJ. Please sit down as I invite her here. Son, yes. Please sit down so that we can pay attention kindly. May I have your attention? I can see some movement still. For a vote of thanks, Karibu.
Yeah. Good evening. Hello. Thank you all. I'm so excited at our Jurist of the Year 2022. Huge congratulations, Honorable Justice Joel Ngugi. To the chief guest, Ambassador Margaret Whitman, our distinguished guests, colleagues, eminent jurists, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I hope you've had a good time this evening. Indeed, this year would be incomplete without celebrating the achievements of the 2022 Jurist of the Year. Hearty congratulations to you, Honorable Justice Joel Ngugi. And just as you are before us this evening, you have affirmed why you had to be the choice this year. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for challenging us that we are not really free until everyone is truly free. We take that challenge with us home today. On behalf of the ICJ Kenya Council and the Secretariat, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to every one of you for joining us today to recognize and celebrate an outstanding jurist and commemorate the International Human Rights Day. The launch of our capital campaign themed Footprints of Justice comes at a time when the country is recovering from the ravaging effects of COVID-19 pandemic and a disruptive economy from this year's election cycle. The pandemic has kept us abreast by giving us diverse viewpoints on how to achieve financial stability as we advance human rights. As the curtains close on this auspicious ceremony, I wish that our efforts to advance human rights, justice, rule of law, and good governance will neither dwindle nor falter. Let us boldly promote human dignity and continue standing up for human rights. A special thank you to all our development partners for supporting us to keep the commitment and desire to promote human rights and the rule of law. I recognize the work of the Secretariat led by Ms. Elsie Saina. Huge appreciation for the support you offered to host this ceremony. Thank you very much. I would be remiss if we were not to thank our other partners, NCBA Bank Limited, thank you very much, and Palbina Travel Limited for their financial support to hold this award ceremony. We look forward to a refreshed partnership with our development partners. Thank you again for the continued support. We wish you all a happy festive season and a prosperous new 2023. Asanteni sana. God bless you. Thank you. Oh.
She's done a fantastic job. So let's have the trip.
And that I was not going to fire because I felt that.
Thank you. Yes. So beautiful piece. We proceed with it, but we would want to keep you here. So we play it in the background as we finish, okay? So at this point, may I request us to be upstanding. I want the national anthem to be played. Forgive me for that, because I want to release us. Have you had a beautiful night? It's been a beautiful night. And I know some of us, we will not meet again. So I take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. You can say that to your neighbor too. Chances are you'll not meet again once we are out of this place. So please wish someone a Merry Christmas in advance and a Happy New Year. Why not? We can actually sing together. I wish you a Merry Christmas. Say, I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. One more time, say another one. I wanna turn to another one. Tell someone else, say, I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Beautiful. So do we have the national anthem? Cue. So as we began with the national anthem, permit us also to finish with the national anthem. Then at the background, we shall play the video for those who will be still around. So media team, let's be Thank you, thank you. You have been a lovely audience. Please appreciate yourself. Thank you. You can now leave at your own pleasure and pressure as the media team plays the final clip. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a blessed evening. Thank you.
The trial is going on fair.